Greetings, beloveds. When you make a choice to allow Spirit to guide you, when you make the choice to let go of the ego mind and you say, Spirit, what would you have me do and where would you have me go? You release yourself to a force that is a force of nature, but of God's nature, not of man's nature, of the God self rather than the human self, of the Christ itself, the one that is always moving towards light, moving towards love, moving towards salvation. There are moments of forgiveness for the times when choices are made, but ultimately, beloveds, there is no need for forgiveness, for you will come to realize that every choice, every decision that you make is always a decision for love. For love has many, many forms, and shapes and sizes. And ultimately, you have only ever been in the kingdom. You have not left. You have dreamt a dream that has had you travel over lands, planets, and galaxies, and in starships, and beams of light, and portals, and wormholes, and everything that you've ever heard of, every movie that you've ever watched has a reality somewhere. And there is a way that the mind captures every image that it sees, and it becomes as real as if it were happening. And it has all happened, and yet at the same time, none of it has happened. And this is the ultimate paradox of spirituality. For all you are ever doing is being a beam of love, a beam of light. And light will refract, and light will dance, and light will play, and light will move in and out behind shadows, but it is always shining. The same is true of love. You are always loving, even in the times that you believe that you are being unloving, even in the time that you believe that you have committed the most heinous acts of atrocity. The truth is, all you have ever truly been doing is loving. Now you have called it many different things, and you have judged it to be this and judged it to be that, and you have said this is bad and this is wrong. This person needs to go to jail or prison for this. This person needs to be decapitated. Let's use a guillotine. Yes, that sounds very entertaining. Off their head. Look at their head fall into the bucket. And people even applaud. Some are aghast. How could you do such a thing? Let us put them in stocks. Let us have them be on display. Let us burn them at the stake. These things, beloveds, when you come to realize that these are all acts of love and ways of entertaining one another, you said, let's try this. Let's see how this turns out. It's all love, beloveds. It is all love. It is all truth. It is all light and refraction of light. When you hold a prism up to the light, you see the colors, and there are so many more than what you can see with your eyes. When you allow yourself to step inwards and say, show me truth, show me light, show me love, show me what it is to be a Christed being, you will discover all the things that you have allowed yourself to forget. You will discover that every word that you speak and every action that you take is ultimately love. And it will not matter. None of it will matter. All of the judgments that you have cast upon it, all of the projections that you have made, none of it will matter. For there will come a moment of grand consciousness when you say, only love is real. Nothing real can be harmed, nothing unreal exists. And herein lies the peace of God. Herein, within. The truth that you are is pure love. Nothing has ever changed it, and nothing ever will. And yet you continue to fight, and you continue to say, but this, but that, but look what they did. Mommy, look what they did. They need to be punished. Daddy, Look what they did. Get out your belt and beat them. They need to be locked in their room. Make them sit in the corner with the dunce cap. All the things that you have done, beloveds, to each other. All the ways in which you have delighted at the punishment of another. All the ways in which you have delighted at the things that you have done ultimately to yourself. And it has all been a game. But people will say, Yeshua, how can you say that this is a game? This is serious. There are children that are being harmed. Forests that are being devastated. There are planets that are being destroyed. But here's the interesting and fascinating thing about the force of life. The life force of God is that life and God will always find another way. If this planet is destroyed, if all of the bees die and all of the trees die, this planet becomes dusty, like other planets that you know. Life will emerge elsewhere. For it is the force of God's love that is eternal, not what has been created in this dimension that you know has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So when you go within and when you find the place inside of you where Christ dwells, for Christ dwells in all of you, when you come upon that moment, revel in the glory of that, revel in the peace and the magic and the majesty, knowing that God is where you are, for you are an emanation of that. And then when you look upon another, you say, would you show me the Christ that lives within you? And they will say, it would be my delight. And then you look upon another, and the two of you in unison, your hearts will combine. And you will know that wherever two or more are gathered, in the name of love, the presence of Christ emerges. And that is the truth of you. That is the beauty of you. That is the magnificent, the majesty of you. That is the divinity and the holiness of you. So find someone today, beloved, and ask to share a moment of being a Christ, of being with them. Take this beyond your consciousness of knowing what it is to be a Christ of being. You will continue to expand this, but find someone else and say, would you be willing to share a moment of God's love with me? And if they say no, find another, and another, and another. For you to be the example of a Christ of being, that is what will bring about the change in people's consciousness to say, that dwells in me as well. For when they see you do it, then they know that they can do it. It is the truth with anything. As soon as the 4-minute mile was broken, suddenly everyone could run a 4-minute mile. Whereas before it was unfathomable. When you follow my footsteps, for I have been able to have the experience of being a Christ of being, and I taught it to many, and I still do. Come and sit with me. Let us be Christ of beings together. And then bring that, get that all over everybody, like peanut butter. So Hannah Grace loves peanut butter. However, peanut butter does not love her. She need only change her mind about that. Beloved, sit with me. Come and be with me. Let me show you. Let me remind you. And then take that everywhere you go. I love you beyond measure. There is no limit to the love that I have for you. Allow yourself, beloved ones, to love in this vein. Allow yourself to recognize the beauty and the majesty and the holiness and the divinity that you are. And then use those eyes to see that in another. And watch the entire landscape of your existence change before your very eyes, both externally as well as internally. I promise you that. So go with my blessings, go with my love, and come and be with me. Let me show you what it is to be this Christ of being that I speak of. Blessings to you always, beloved ones, and I will speak with you again.